Welcome back to A Game of Fangers and Thrones. My name's Hannah, and this is episode 2 of Read 9 by 1. Some housekeeping. Point 1. This is episode 2 of Read 7 by 1. When I was putting the tracker into my new bullet journal for the second half of the year, I seem to have given myself 2 extra squares to fill in before I could buy them. Well, 1 extra square to read. No, it's 2 extra squares. So it ended up being Read 9 by 1. The other point is, I failed that miserably. Well, the buying the books and the reading of them. Not so much the reading of the books, because I have my selection here and it's falling off. But point 2, I think I've reviewed most of these in vlogs, so I'm just going to quickly go over it. And then the other video I'm hoping to film is the mini haul that should not be. But I do have reviews for the books in this video, but because I switched bullet journals halfway through the year and most of these were read in June, I don't have the written review with me. It's actually in the box that you are resting on, so we'll just go from memory. So first of all, we have You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes. This is the third in the You series. I think it's a series following Joe Goldberg, who is a stalker, and you can't help but fall in love with him. Obviously this is the third in the series, so I can't talk too much about it, but I did give this 5 stars, I believe. I did thoroughly enjoy it. Then we had A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I cannot remember what I rated this, but I did enjoy it. It follows Adara and Jack in a Scottish folklore inspired story where bards are just as important and just as powerful as warriors, which I liked that take on it, and I think I gave it a 3 or a 4, I'm not sure. But then a 5, I definitely remember giving The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson 5 stars. This has an ending that is going to be very Marmite for people. You're either going to love it or hate it. I definitely fall into the category of loving it. I thought it was just such a perfect ending, while keeping it open for what I now know is Mistborn Era 2. And I can't talk about why I like this one so much, because it is a trilogy. This is the finale to that trilogy, but I gave it 5 stars. My bargain book, which I'm now getting rid of because of how much of a bargain it is A Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. This is my bargain book because I got it for $1.99 and it is signed. But this is unfortunately a 3 star, but I do remember reading this one when I had COVID, so my enjoyment of this book may have been affected by the fact that I was ill, but I did enjoy it when I read it. I just sort of forgot half of what was happening as soon as I put the book down. Following teenage queen Leah, who inherits her corrupt uncle's bankrupt kingdom, and she brings a new spy master into the fold, Zania. This is queer, and I enjoyed that aspect of it, but like I say, I don't really remember much else about it. It was quite forgettable, but it was fun while I was reading it, so this one got a 3 star, which isn't a bad rating by any means. Then we have then we have The Bridge Kingdom. I don't have it with me because I read that on Kindle Unlimited, and I gave that sure I have a review for it. Okay, the review is in the other journal, but I do remember enjoying that, and I will be continuing with that series on Kindle Unlimited. But I think I gave that 4, I think I gave that maybe 3.54. It follows our main character, whose name I have already forgotten, and she has been tasked to kill the king of this country that her father says is bad. But when she gets there, she realizes that nothing is as it seems. I know that was very vague, but it was a very good book. I just can't remember anything about it. Then we have The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. This I do have my review for, and this got a 4.5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It has time travel, found family, a heist aspect, an almost enemies to lovers storyline. There's insider betrayal, which I didn't realise was a thing I liked, but there we go. And it does have lesbian characters in here, although it's not, I don't think it's explicit for both parties, but it is for one. But we follow Esther, who is a thief, and she can time travel in Manhattan. That is a very dangerous thing, because there is this brink that lets magicians in, but it doesn't let them out. And it is Esther's job to go back and steal the book, which is a big magical artifact where the magicians, the magus, hope that they can stop the Order, the bad guys, from destroying their magic. But there is so much insider betrayal, you don't really know who to trust. I knew I had an inkling because of the prologue and certain things that happen throughout the story, but I didn't guess who the betrayer was, and it was a kick in the gut. And the ending, yes, okay, it was a bit of an obvious one, but maybe that's just because I read a lot of fantasy, I read a lot of YA, and this particular trope is a favourite of mine if it's done well. But if it's done badly, it does come off as overused, and I think on this case it's very on that line. But I did enjoy it. 4.5 stars, and I will be continuing with The Devil's Thief. Then we have this gorgeous book, which you can't see properly, but this is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. This is the Fairy Loot edition, and I gave this one 5 stars. I literally cannot fault this. And on my little review, I put post-it notes sometimes with tropes or things I want to talk about, and all I put on this one was dragons. And if you know anything about me, it's like, if it's a case of if a book has dragons, it's almost guaranteed to be a favourite, especially if those dragons are sentient and are more than just your average, I don't want to say beast, but if they have a presence to them. Think Abraxas from Throne of Glass, Saphira from the Aragon books, where they have a bit of intelligence to them. Whether they can talk or not is moot, but as long as they have a personality about them, an intelligence, they're pretty much guaranteed to be a favourite. This had that, and the writing was simple and sparse, but in a way that was also beautiful, and you could tell that there was a love of this legend in here. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you what this is about, it's doing the rounds, but this is a retelling of the Korean legend of Shimseong. I apologise if I mispronounced that. But following Mina, who jumps into the sea to save her brother and his beloved from the heartbreak of the beloved being sacrificed to the sea god to try and stop the storms that threaten her village. I loved this. It had dragons, female friendship, which was very nice to see. It did have the soulmate trope, but we kind of expect that. Then the last book of this bunch is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. I can't tell you anything about this other than it's weird. Very imaginative, full of amazing imagery and beautiful writing, but it's weird. The plot is very twisty and some of it just seems like it's thrown in for shock value. I gave it 3 stars. There were aspects of it I like, but it's a fever dream of a book and I don't think I'll be rereading it, so it'll probably go in the box, the unboxing. It's just off camera if you didn't know. But yeah, I can't really, even though I've read this not that long ago, I have my review and I have the blurb in front of me, I still can't tell you what this is about. Village made a bargain with the devil. A basic sacrifice a young man when the slaughter moon rises. This year the slaughter moon has risen early, and it goes from there. We follow 3 people, Maywin, Rune and Arthur, and they get up to all sorts. What I do remember about this book and what I did enjoy was the fact that it was almost a polygamous relationship between the 3. It was a true love triangle. By that I mean all 3 had feelings for the other 2, and it did raise some interesting conversations about gender, sexuality and gender norms, so that was a nice twist. But other than it being a very beautiful written book, I don't remember anything about it. So, and normally I would tell you what book I bought to complete the 10, but as I went a little bit overboard with that, I'm not going to bother and I'll just do a haul, which will probably be the next video you see. Excuse me. So with that, those are my most recent group of 9 reads. Let me know in the comments down below what you've been reading, if you've read any of these books and if you agree with my opinion or if you disagree, and if you have any recommendations for what I should read, even though you can see my TBR trolley right here and this is full. I don't need to be buying any more books, but book buying and book reading, 2 completely different hobbies. But with that, I think I've rambled on long enough, and I'll say my normal, which is, if you like this video, give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this, talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!